Welcome to our Devos. If you were in church this weekend, it was a hand grenade type of sermon where I just threw it into the crowd and seen what happens. Well, we talked about family matters. And from my standpoint as a pastor, I get the opportunity to interact with families in a lot of different ways. And most notably is what happens when couples get married or whenever couples go through different changes in their lives, like they have children, maybe the death of a loved one, and how it impacts the family. You get to see, if you're in this type of work for a long time, you're at a front row to a lot of these transitions. So today, I'm going to share with you something that I call boundaries that bless. So I said the antidote to having problems with family where it's kind of overly controlled by families that are kind of refusing to leave and cleave and be on their own, and they're really beholden to the extended family. Well, we're going to look at some boundaries that will bring blessing, not just to your immediate nuclear family, but to the entire family as a whole. So let's take a look at them. First one, God has to be the first in your family. I mean, honestly, this is probably a no-brainer to you because you're watching this, but I don't understand how families function without Christ. Now, I have met families that are loving and caring, but the functioning of it and how to focus on the right things, that's hard to find and hard to fathom without Jesus being at the center. Because we're selfish and we're sinful, and we all tend to pursue what matters most to us. So if you want to have a family where you're being able to stay close, but also be healthy with regard to your boundaries, you have to keep in mind that your allegiance first is to God, that you focus on Him first and allow Him to dictate the terms and the conditions of your relationships, starting with your family, your immediate family, your spouse and your children, or if you have a spouse and children, and then those extended family circumstances. So with that said, cornerstone verse, Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, Jesus says, "Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." So if you seek Him first, if you really, like I talked about a couple weeks ago, if you really want to honor God in all that you do, if you want to acknowledge Him in all that you do, that means you're going to bring Him into a discussion of how your family dynamics ought to work. That means that you find yourself seeking Him, and then on top of that, making sure that your love for your family and for your significant other reflects first your love for Him. I would rather have you being super devoted to God above all things than you being super devoted to your family above all things, because, spoiler alert, families make terrible gods. If you are allowing your family to dictate how you worship, how you spend your money, how you spend your time, your family is going to let you down. But if you allow God to dictate all those things, He blesses all of those areas. So, family is your first earthly priority. But when it comes to all of your priorities, you have to honor God first. And God will enable you to have wisdom to create boundaries that bless.